Squiz Kids acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we podcast, the Turrbal and Combermary people.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids Today, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Wednesday, November 15. In Squiz Kids Today, Minecraft movie back on track. Diwali sets a world record. Lion on the loose in Italy and astronaut toolkit alert. That's what's making news, kids style.
The lowdown.
Are you ready to see Minecraft made into a live-action movie starring Aquaman Jason Momoa? Or what about a remake of the Disney classic Lilo and Stitch? Perhaps a new series of Stranger Things is more your speed. Or, if you're really daring, and your parents let you, the zombie apocalypse thriller The Last of Us. Because all of these projects are tipped to be back on track soon after reports yesterday that a long-running strike by Hollywood actors is about to come to an end. So, what's a strike? It's when a group of workers stop working in an attempt to improve the conditions in which they work. All sorts of professions go on strike, from train drivers to teachers, and for the past 118 days, actors have been on strike as they seek better pay and working conditions from the big studios that produce so much of the TV and movie content we love to watch. Reports yesterday say that the actors and studios who distribute their TV shows and movies have reached an agreement. Minecraft movie, here we come. In other pop culture news, it's time to whip out your best sequined dress, for tonight is the ARIA Awards, when all of Australia's most loved musicians and pop stars and songwriters get together to celebrate the best of Australia's best music for the year. Canberra's own Genesis Owusu leads the nominations with 7, just ahead of Troye Sivan and Kylie Minogue. There'll be a big old red carpet and a whole bunch of wonderfully crazy outfits tonight as the likes of Jess Malboy, Baker Boy, G-Flip and Dylan Alcott take to Sydney's Hordern Pavilion. And for the mums and dads out there, Aussie rockers Jet will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Makes you feel old, doesn't it?
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed back in India, where we were on Monday in fact. And that's because it's time to check in on how the Diwali celebrations went. Diwali, as we talked about earlier this week, is a major Hindu festival, also sometimes called the Festival of Light, for all the candles and lanterns and lights that are lit and the fireworks that are set off. In the state of Uttar Pradesh, near the Nepalese border, more than 2.22 million oil lamps were lit at a temple by the river, which not only looked spectacular, but also broke a Guinness World Record. I've stuck a link to a photo of it in today's episode notes. It's quite something. Just as the air pollution that follows Diwali is quite something too. With many of India's very heavily populated cities already suffering extreme air quality problems, Diwali, with its oil lamps and fireworks, makes for a smoggy few days afterwards.
Animal Kingdom.
And so to a special Animals on the Loose edition of Animal Kingdom, starting with the family in Kent, in England, who were stunned to look at their front door video camera to see an emu staring back at them and pecking at their doorbell. How very polite. It seems the emu had escaped from a wildlife sanctuary not far away and had taken it upon itself to go and meet some neighbours. There was much excitement this week in Italy too, after Kimber, the adult lion, escaped from a circus and wandered through the main street of the seaside town of Ladispoli. Kimber was on the loose for a whole 7 hours before being recaptured. And speaking of animals being let loose, everyone's favourite food-obsessed cat, Garfield, has been let loose on the silver screen, with the trailer dropping this week for the Garfield movie. Guardians of the Galaxy's Chris Pratt voices the ginger fluffball in a movie that tells the story of how he adopted his owner, John, and not the other way around. I've stuck a link to the trailer in today's episode notes. You're very welcome.
spaced out.
Here's something to put in your diaries for next March. If you happen to be out and about, you might want to keep an eye up in the sky for an astronaut's tool bag burning up as it plummets to Earth, after it was dropped by a couple of astronauts tending to the International Space Station during a spacewalk earlier this month. NASA revealed yesterday that the tool bag was accidentally let go of during the spacewalk and was now in orbit above the Earth. But there's no need to worry, as it's not in an orbit that will impact the space station, and those wrenches and screwdrivers and hammers will burn up on re-entry to our atmosphere next year long before they hit the ground. Whoops-a-daisy. Can you hear that? That's the sound of summer holidays, and they're not far away. Which is why we here at Squiz Kids are getting ready for the looming school holidays by putting together a bunch of cool summer content, including our bumper school holiday quizzes, shortcuts, and Squiz the World, and announcing the return of the great big Squiz Kids holiday joke-a-thon, the perfect pod for those lazy summer days, holidays, and road trips. So, do you have a cool joke that you want to share with the kids of Australia? Then put it in an email and send it pronto, along with your name, age, and where you live, to squizkids@thesquiz.com.au. Christy and I have already started collecting those great jokes that some of you have sent in, and we're going to turn them into a podcast of unprecedented, side-splitting, jaw-hurting hilarity. Because, my friends, who doesn't like a laugh? Did you know that NAPLAN stands for the National Assessment Program, Literacy and Numeracy? It's quite a mouthful, right? And if you're in grade 3 or 5, you're probably nodding your head. Those are the tests that all kids in your grade across Australia take to see how they're doing in literacy and numeracy. Now, for all the teachers and parents out there, this one's for you. Our good friends at The Big Squiz are diving deep into the world of NAPLAN in their latest episode of How Far We've Come, brought to you in partnership with NGS Super. You can hop on board and listen to it on the Squiz Today podcast feed.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. What did a pair of astronauts accidentally let go of during a spacewalk earlier this month? Yeah, that's right, it was a toolkit. Question number 2. Name the Hindu festival that involves a whole lot of candle and lamp lighting. Yep, well done if you said Diwali. Question number 3. Which cartoon cat is about to star in his own animated movie? Yes, indeed, it's Garfield. Who else?
Shout-outs.
It's November 15. On this day last year, the world's population ticked over to 8 billion people. Is it just me, or is it getting crowded in here? It's also a special day for these Squiz Kids, celebrating a birthday today. Alanya from Junee, Macy and Izzy from Sydney, Pavan from Williams Landing, Harry from Manopara, Alia from Dalkeith, Matilda and Elsie from Lura, Job and Tate from Faguna, and Aya, who's listening all the way over there in Yokohama, Japan. And belated birthday shout-outs today go to Amelie from Randwick, Chloe from Sutherland, Ella from Charleston, Theo from Maroubra, Loveleen from Burnside, Akeem from Surrey Hills, Jaden from Woolloongabba, Emmett from Canberra, and Caleb, Jax and Kian all from Tregear. And classroom shout-outs today go to Class 4-5 with Miss Lukong at Maitland Lutheran School, Class 3S with Mrs. Scondro at Harrington Park Public School, Class 4A and Miss Stokes at Sunshine Heights Primary School, Class 4C with Ms. Claudia at Elwood Primary School, Class 6M and Mr. Goobler at St. Peter's and Paul Primary School in Garran, Class 6R and Miss Richards at Cronulla Public School, Year 6 at Francis of Assisi Catholic Primary School in Tarnate, and finally, Classes K6 Sapphire with Mr. Powers and Miss Billy at Wilton Public School. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you want a shout out, or if you're after a classroom shout out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au, or fill out the form on our website. Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids today. We'll be back again tomorrow. And don't forget, if you like what we do, tell your friends, or even better, chuck us a like or a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's really important to help us grow and continue to do what we do. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out.